Prepare to meet some of the best people in the world who all happen to work here at Silver Hill Hospital. They have contributed to our historic culture and are the true definition of excellent work ethic. You are now clocked in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, this is Christopher Brewer, and we are launching a brand new interview series here at Silver Hill Radio. I don't know if we came up with an official name yet, but we're just going to call it Clocked In for now. And I'm privileged. I'm actually excited to have our very, very first guest, Ron Sala. Ron, welcome.
Hi. It's great to be here with you.
Well, I'm glad that you showed up, first of all, because, like I said, we're kind of launching this bare bones right out of the gate. And what I wanted to do was create a show separate from Silver Sounds. That's more music-based. That's more about the music, the artist, the time period, and then whatever random guest I throw in. But this time around, I kind of wanted this to be more staff-focused, more about the stories of the staff, maybe stories about the hospital. I mean, more focusing on Silver Hill. And I just think that's important because I'm always grateful to be here amongst these great colleagues, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's a nice family here. So what better way to sort of give back, I guess, than to focus on them and highlight all the people that work here instead of highlighting my favorite songs, you know?
Sure.
Like, it's boring after a while. But I think we want to know more about the people who keep this running. And I'm glad to say you're one of them, Ron. So as a fellow psych tech, I'll let you take it away to introduce yourself and what you do here.
Sure. Well, I often get people, when they ask what I do for a living, I say I'm a psych tech, and I have to kind of explain that we do direct care with patients in a psychiatric hospital, behavioral health hospital, everything from making sure that people get their toiletries, and we run some groups there to be somebody to talk with, bounce ideas off of, process emotions. And that's one of the things I really love about the job is that it's a whole bunch of jobs in one. We're kind of generalists, whereas physicians do what physicians do. Nurses have their training and they dispense the medication. The housekeepers keep up the physical surroundings. And by the way, this is the cleanest hospital I've ever seen in my life. I'm so impressed with our cleaning crew. But we do little bits and pieces of a lot of different kinds of jobs, and we really have to be there to respond to whatever situations come up in the moment. And flexibility is one of our hallmarks because things happen. People go through situations, schedules change, and we just kind of have to roll with the punches. And I really love how the team works together here. I'm not new to this type of work. I worked at a local hospital since 2010.
Okay.
And that was part of a big hospital system, and just kind of a different feel having this smaller organization as Silver Hill. I really like the culture here, how we work together. I think it's funny sometimes, we often have kind of a friendly competition about who's going to do the next piece of work. Like, no, I'll get the rounds. No, I'll get the rounds. And not every workplace is like that enough to tell anybody.
That's true.
And it's really refreshing, and I think that really contributes to the type of care that we can do.
I almost want to say it's generational here in a way because, I mean, you have people that have been working here for decades, and then you also have families that are working here, like daughters, sons, like mothers, working together as well.
Yeah.
So I think that contributes to that familiar kind of culture here.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely what's kept me here. Even through the tough times, I could always sort of think about that. I'm like, even if it's a rough night or rough situation, I'm going to have a pretty solid team. I would say 9.5 times out of 10
Yeah,
with me.
I think you're about right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even think over the years up to now. And I would say now we're getting an influx of a lot of great people, a lot of young, smart minds that are sort of bringing a different approach. You know, I mean, not to say that my approach is old or antiquated, but, you know, it's good to have a fresh perspective.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're, like you said, when we're dealing with patients, direct care. You know, I'm a firm believer in knowing everybody's strengths, you know, that you're working with. So maybe, like you said, maybe I can't do that one thing out of the 10 things that we do. So I'll say, hey, Ron, can you, you know, help me with this? Sure, no problem. And then vice versa, you know, kind of give and take, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do have to be like a jack of all trades.
Exactly, yeah. And that keeps it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, literally have to be flexible running across campus and and things like that. So you said, yeah, you have some experience prior to coming here. Any other kind of interesting work experience that you've had prior to Silver Hill, prior to coming here? Or?
Well, I'm also an ordained minister.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, I really like helping people. I switched denominations a number of years ago, and my current denomination doesn't have paid clergy, so I need to be kind of what's called, you know, taking that biblical term, being a tent maker. From St. Paul, who, you know, he was an evangelist, but the way that he earned his money was making tents. And so, you know, kind of the tent making that I do here is, you know, helping people with going through situations in their life, whether that be addiction or dealing with mental illnesses. And it gives me a huge amount of satisfaction. I really consider it, you know, personally a ministry that I do with people. I think that I get at least as much out of it as patients get out of it. I'm always learning about myself, and you know, I need to, you know, always be working on how I process my emotions. You know, how I structure my thoughts. You know, the kinds of situations that one finds oneself in this type of work. You know, it can't just be about, you know, this person is going through this. It's also bringing up things for us as staff. And so to, you know, have my support system, you know, have the therapy that I receive on the outside, you know, having good relationships with people, doing my self-care, you know, and so then I can speak out of that experience in helping other people who are going through similar things.
Yeah. Well, it seems like I'm learning a little bit about you, too. I didn't know you were ordained. Wow.
Oh, sure.
That's great.
And another thing that really makes this meaningful work for me is that mental health care goes back a long way in my family. I was raised as a Mennonite, which is one of the historic peace churches that teaches against being part of military service. So my father and 3 of my uncles, when they were drafted at various times from World War II up through the Vietnam era, they claimed conscientious objector status. And so the U.S. government had different programs for conscientious objectors that, rather than serving in a military capacity, would also be doing service, and oftentimes that was working in mental hospitals. And so they all worked in state institutions in Maryland and Pennsylvania, and so I have that lore in my family, you know, which always, you know, got me interested in that kind of thing. My one uncle spent his whole career at a private psychiatric hospital in you know, the administrative side of it. My father went on to a career as a guidance counselor. And so, you know, psychology and those types of subjects, you know, were always, you know, kind of in the background. I would look through my father's books that he had from going through school, you know, and he had a collection of children's drawings and, you know, psychological interpretations of those. Ink blots, you know, just you know, from a previous era, you know, kind of the way it was done, you know, more Freudian types of stuff. But I've always been interested in that, and to hear about how psychiatry has changed over the years too. Like my one uncle who was serving during World War II at the state hospital in Baltimore, and just how harsh the conditions could be back then. Just one illustration there. I didn't actually know about this until my uncle's funeral, but the hospital administration had given instructions that when transporting patients from one building to another, to use cattle prods.
Oh, wow.
And the staff said, no, this is inhumane. We will not do this. And the administration backed down from that kind of harsh treatment. Mm-hmm. And, so, I see how far we've come,
Absolutely.
And there's always need for more progress in, really seeing people as people.
Yeah.
My father would sometimes talk about a patient that he had worked with, when he was doing the work back in the 50s, who said to him, the only difference between you and me is you've got the key.
That's right.
And, we're all just people.
Yeah.
And some of us, who work in this field have been inpatient before. Some people who are inpatient may work in the field. I think of Marcia Lanahan, the developer of dialectical behavior therapy, which is one of the real spines of the treatment that we do here. She was inpatient, was engaging in serious self-harm, but her own experience, she used that to really have an insight into how to help other people, and became a revolutionary in psychiatry.
Yeah. Wow. And that's I think that's a beautiful point. I mean, we're all just people, and I mean this is literally in your blood, and you've seen the positive progress that mental health has made, and I think Silver Hill is probably at the top of the list when it comes to therapeutic and just giving that healing environment. I'd say we're at the top of the list. I don't know.
It has a great reputation, and people in the community that they find out I work at Silver Hill, and they'll say, "Oh, I had a relative or a friend who went there, got help," and it's a beautiful thing to hear that reflected.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to take a quick break because I think that was a good pivot, a good start. And I think we'll come back and learn a little bit more about you. Like I said, I didn't know you were ordained, so I know there's more to you than what we see. So yeah, we'll be right back after a short break here on Clocked In. And we're back. I believe we're calling it Clocked In still.
Sounds like a good name to me.
It does, yeah, and it's a little clearer, so maybe I can come back a little bit. But I'm back. This is Chris Brewer, your host. And I am still joined by Ron Sala. Ron?
Hey.
I think you got us started on a good path here with that opening segment. So I always like to lead with gratitude. Thanks again just for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, for being the first official guest. We had a few people reply already, but like I told you, it's just a matter of, scheduling and getting people in at the right time. But this just kind of happened, I meant to message you maybe a day or two ago, but, things get...
Absolutely. It goes back to being flexible like we were talking before.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, really. I think I was here Monday night and, Sunday night. See, so it was Sunday into Monday. It was like, woo. So I kind of lost like 12 hours there, but...
Yeah.
Thanks again for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, to go back to St. Paul, when you texted me earlier this morning, verse that he had in one of his letters about being ready in season and out of season, and that's kind of
I like that.
Kind of goes along with just being flexible, rolling with whatever happens, and being in the present moment, which is one of the things that we often bring up in groups, just the importance of that.
Oh. What was that?
I don't
Is
know.
that a truck?
I hope it's a truck.
Yeah, I think it's a truck.
I was actually working here at the acute care unit when we had that earthquake a few months ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I was brand new. I'd only been here for a week or two, and one of the patients in the day room asks me, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm thinking, I I don't know, what is it, the AC unit or the HVAC system?
The AC.
But then turned out that it was an earthquake.
Yeah, I remember that. Things were just sort of like, I think was I here? I was home, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like and I was like, whoa, what's
Yeah,
that? I mean, we don't really get that too much around here.
No.
Are you from Connecticut originally?
Originally from Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Yep, southeast Pennsylvania, Montgomery County, near Philly.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Swift country. That's one of our
Is that where she's from?
contributions to in that general area.
Oh, I had no idea. I probably should have known that, but we have a lot of Taylor Swift fans. Oh, yeah, we have a lot of Taylor Swift music, too, so
Oh, excellent.
we'll probably feature one song, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, yeah. She's a phenomenon.
Yeah. It's funny, too, actually. There's times I go to my dad's house, and, he comes from, let's say he comes from the classic 70s funk, R&B, that era. But there's times when I come there and he's cranking Taylor Swift, and I'm like, he's like, oh, I don't know, I just really like this. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, I'm okay with it.
So it's a reason why she's a billionaire.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, it's him and my daughter. They're dancing around to Taylor Swift. I'm like, this is great, So I know you mentioned you also did radio back in the day.
Yeah, I almost went into radio as a profession. I had been in college radio at WEMC in what's now Eastern Mennonite University. It was Eastern Mennonite College back then. 100-watt radio station, and we went up to 1,000 watts while I was on the air, and that was so much fun. I had a contemporary Christian show, a folk music show, did classical music, and we even had a kind of a Prairie Home Companion knockoff called A Night on the Hill.
Okay.
And we would have musicians that would come from the local hills, with like the ZZ Top beards and play Smoke and Bluegrass. It was so much fun. We had comedy sketches, and it was so much fun. And so that's one of the reasons why I was so excited when I saw the email about you're looking for staff to come onto the radio station. The very fact that we have a radio station here is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Me too.
Yeah. And then after college, I did a couple of internships. One was at WYNY, the country music station.
Sounds familiar.
Back then, back in New York, back in the 90s. And had a lot of fun with that, including go out on remotes to Mickey Mantle's restaurant by Central Park, and
Nice.
and one of the personalities would dance on the table. To I think I've got friends in low places. I think that was the song that we played, and it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, also at WNYC, I was one of their interns, and kind of got to see how the sausage is made. Wrote some of the copy for the public service announcements and stuff. Got to know the on air people.
Wow. So you were really into the radio.
That's when I got the call to ministry. That's when I changed tracks.
Right. And that happens.
Yeah.
You kind of change, pivot here and there. I mean, they just, I would say, I think it was right before COVID, they had sent out an email about the radio station looking just for help, because it was just, I think, 2 people here. I think Molly, and then shout out to David Ford, who keeps this running too. And nobody knew about it. Everybody's like, Silver Hill Radio, what's that? And I'm like, I'll help, I'll volunteer, I'll just come and so I started doing that maybe like 2 nights a week or 2. Then I came up with Silver Sounds, and I was doing all that before any kind of official deal was made. I just wanted to be a part of it, because like you, I love music, I love radio, the talk aspect. So I just got into it, and then they kept me on, and now I'm just trying to keep contributing, getting the creativity out. And I think this show is really gonna take off, because just like you, there's already people interested. There's so many people that work here, It's a small hospital, but we have a lot of people that work here. So, I mean, it could potentially go on infinitely, you know.
Yeah, and radio is just such an intimate medium too. You know, you really, you know, I'm a few inches from this microphone that goes right into people's ears. You know, we have these little radios, the portable radios that patients can have with them in their rooms. And you know, I often hear great music coming out of those speakers as I'm doing the rounds. You know, and music just touches such an emotional, spiritual place in us. So I think that's a real service that we provide to patients. I often find that music can be a way to build rapport with people. You know, I'll see them wearing a band's shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, you know, have you seen them in concert? You know, what's your favorite song?" You know, and we get into all kinds of subjects, all kinds of dialogue that comes out of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a uniting thing with music.
It seems like just about everybody likes some kind of music.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find some common ground with somebody. Yeah, no, that's great. I think we'll take another break.
Sure.
Let's take another short break. There's nobody guiding us to take breaks, by the way. We're just kind of doing this as we're going along. But it's good to take a break. We'll take a break, and we'll come back with more with Ron Sala. And we're back. I believe this is clocked in. Let's just say this is clocked in with your host, Chris Brewer, and I'm still joined by Ron Sala. Hey, Ron.
Hey.
The first official guest. I'm glad it was you, actually, because I was getting a little nervous. I was like, what if, like, you know, one of the top doctors wants to be the first guest?
Yeah. A little pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to be up and ready at 8. They're like, no. It's just Ron. And I'm glad you were flexible and able to meet me here at the time that we
absolutely
agreed upon last minute. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And I know we talked about your journeys as a radio, I'll say host. I'm kind of straying away from the DJ term. I'd say that's more for like festivals and, you know, live performances. Those are the DJs. They're the ones that are really
well. Back in my day, we were actually using records.
That's right. Yeah,
and CDs were just starting to come in to the radio station when I was there, and so you had to queue up the record in such a way so that it you know, was at the proper speed when it began.
That's right. Yeah. See, we don't have any of that. It's all digital. It's all, you know, just program, you know.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, that's for sure. And we both have a definite common interest in music.
Absolutely.
And one thing that we've been starting to do here, we've been inviting some patients here. Obviously from TLP with permission, with consent. And if they want to, you know, come record, do like a song or, you know, it's usually music based. So they'll want to come sing or play guitar.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we'll facilitate that. I mean, it's, you know, you see how we're doing it here. So it's, you know, it's usually pretty quick. It doesn't take long. And then after the fact, you know, if they want that recording, we can email it to them and it's theirs to keep. And I think that's, for me, it's fun. But for the patient or whoever who's involved, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a good experience, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm having similar experience right now. I really feel like an honored guest.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you had me here. And also I think that that music is a big part of our culture here, patients and staff alike. You know, just, you know, you hear people breaking into song. We have you know, acoustic guitars that patients can check out with a doctor's order, and so you know, kind of hear an impromptu concert now and then as I'm working, which is really nice. Or, you know, one of the nurses will pick up the guitar, start singing some songs.
That's right.
We have a piano in the main house, and you know, pretty much every mealtime somebody's going to sit down at that piano and start playing. We have sheet music right there, and yeah, it's a nice way of bringing people together, you know, lifting the mood for everybody.
Yeah. That's great with the main house piano, because at one point it was kind of just like there. When I first started here, it was just there. Now I notice more and more people are using it. There's music there. I'm like, wow, this wasn't the case, 4 years ago, but I'm glad that's happening. I know there's a piano, I think, at River House as well, a beautiful piano. And at Michael's, I want to say, there's a piano there. So, I mean, you're right. There's music everywhere. And I'm hoping some of the future guests, staff, if they want to bring a guitar or something,
Sure.
there's plenty of talented staff members here. If I can sort of convince them to do it,
Yeah, and I'd really love to see us expand the range of instruments too.
Yeah.
I'm not aware that we have a keyboard, but that would be a good addition.
Oh,
I think,
it would be.
like electronic keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
And also drums can be incredible. I remember at my previous hospital, there was kind of a tense situation. There was a young man who was having a very difficult time, was feeling very angry. And one of the social workers started talking with him and just invited him to, come and do a session on an African drum
Nice.
that they had. And so they went off into another room, started playing together, and after a little while, the young guy just calmed down and was helped him to really change his whole mindset, his whole emotional standpoint. It's just
That's awesome.
miraculous.
Yeah.
And I see that so many times.
Yeah.
I do that kind of thing for myself. The only instruments I play are like my phone usually. Just put on YouTube
iTunes.
or Amazon Music or whatever. Other than playing like a song flute in elementary school, that's about my musicianship. But
yeah.
just to give an example of a few days ago, I had a lot on my mind. I was really stressed out, and I put on one of my favorite composers is Stephen Halpern.
Okay.
And he calls his music healing music. The particular piece that I put on was Crystal Bowls.
Nice.
I believe was the title of it. And yeah, I just felt so much better after listening to that piece of music.
This is going to blow your mind. I'm so glad you brought up Crystal Bowls. So we have a doctor here. Her name is Dr. Tanvi Gandhi. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
No, I don't think I've met.
She does some of like the yoga groups, mindfulness groups, more so with the adolescents, and with some of the TLP residents.
I think I may have seen her doing a group. I don't think I've actually had a chance to talk with
You may
her.
have seen her, yeah. And she's starting to incorporate crystal bowls now into her practice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So she has the whole setup. I don't know if you're familiar, but they're basically 7 bowls that represent like C, D, E, F, G, A.
Yeah.
And then they're all different frequencies. So that's the goal, is to sort of like figure out which ones maybe connect with the person more, or focus on a couple to focus on a certain area of your body.
Yeah, I think they correspond to the 7 chakras.
There you go. Yeah. So she's been doing that here. I want to say Sunday afternoons around 2 p.m., which is kind of an odd time for us as night techs. But oh no, you're a day.
I'm day person again.
Here I am, still thinking Ron works nights, and so yes, you're a day walker now.
Yeah.
And so yeah, 2 p.m. Sundays. I think every Sunday she's been doing it now at the Martin Center. She'll do the crystal bowl practice.
That's awesome.
For like 30, 40 minutes, and
Yeah.
you can get comfortable, lay down, and then she'll just start doing the sounds, and it's really cool. I mean,
Sure.
it's almost like puts you in a trance almost. Yeah. So I got to experience that, and yeah, it's for the TLP patients, but I mean, we're staff. It's open to whoever's around at Sunday at 2 p.m. Yeah, but it's great though. Maybe one day when she's doing it, I'll let you know if you're around. I don't know if you're in the area, but I try to come here on some Sundays to record as well. It's a good day to record. So
Yeah.
sometimes if I have an hour or 30 minutes, I'll just go check it out. And yeah, it's good stuff. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm definitely a part of the culture where I feel like music is healing. And I think that the more we incorporate it here somehow, some way, I know we have a music therapist. I don't know if have you met him yet?
Matt.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Sure.
I need to meet him. I hear great things about him, and I would just love to see how he works. And I know for some patients it is very helpful. Not all, obviously, but for some, I know that really touches people because I used to come in and there'd be like songs written. I guess they just write songs on the spot sometimes. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, I want to see how they do that. You know? Yeah. I guess he'll just strum a few chords, and then in the process, he'll have. I guess everyone helps contribute to make lyrics relevant to whatever they're talking about or going through. So I'd like to see that process for sure. Kind of the improvisation part of it.
Sure. Yeah, and it's not about being good per se.
Exactly.
Just like any of the arts, they're a way to get into your subconscious mind, into accessing your emotions, being able to process those, and that could be drawing, painting, journaling, writing fiction, writing poetry, just all different.
We've had a few dancers here too. Yeah, that was huge. There's a young lady who, I mean, we've had a few young people. There was one in particular where, she would find something on YouTube. It would be like one of those dancing video games.
Yeah.
And for her, she would just follow the movements and literally just get all that energy out and feel 10 times better. And I'm like, wow. I'm like,
right.
That's amazing. Like, and sometimes she'll, do it at the day room. I mean, there'd be people standing around, but it didn't matter because she just needed to, get that out. And you could even see it like halfway through, like she's just feeling better. She's, it's like.
Sure.
And then obviously by the end of it, she's tired. So I was just like, oh, time to go to bed, I'm tired. I got my steps in, that's it,
Sure.
Yeah.
Our fellow Psych Tech Phil, the other day was doing a sing-along with the patients, just take requests, put on YouTube videos, especially with the ones with the lyrics.
Okay.
And we sat around the ACU day room and just had a great time.
Wow.
Sharing some of our favorite songs and singing at the top of our lungs. And
wow.
Yeah, just it's a real human experience.
Don't try to convince me to work days around because that does sound like fun.
It'd be great to have you on days. But,
I know. I've been asked.
We need good people at night too.
Exactly. All right, let's take one more break or two, however many, and we'll be back more with Ron Sala. And we're back. Clocked in with Ron Sala.
Hello, radio.
I didn't know you said that I had a good radio voice, but you have the perfect radio voice, I think.
I think it's a good competition.
It is, seriously. And I want to figure out a way to have you back too.
That'd be great.
Yeah, obviously we'll probably get through a good cycle of people, and then I'm gonna have you back.
That's awesome. I was mentioning to my wife that I'd be appearing, and she was just thrilled about how I could bring in my radio experience to my hospital work.
Yeah, and that's what I want too. I want bring your radio experience, your personality. I mean, it's already showing here, but I just want you to bring it again. That's all.
Yeah, and I think that's just a metaphor for kind of what we do here. Is that we all bring different talents, different experiences, patients and staff alike. We're here to support each other, and that's really the way the world should be. And so, in our own small way, we're working towards that.
Yeah.
We're all people. We can all learn from each other, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's great that you say that, because one of the taglines that I say for Silver Sounds is that whether you like it or not, we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you just summed it up right there.
Yeah.
Within this community, Silver Hill.
Yeah.
We are all in this together. Especially when this situation, you see it, like we all come together. Doctors, staff, patients.
Yeah.
We all kind of.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, our separation as human beings is an illusion. We all breathe the same air. We all live on the same planet, and that's something that we're really being confronted with in the modern world. Is that there's no such thing as an isolated action. There's always going to be repercussions, and our spiritual traditions have told us that forever.
That's right.
Karma, and what you sow, you're going to reap, and to be conscious of that, and to put out good things into the world.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I mean, like I told you, we could probably do this for another 2 hours.
Oh, sure.
So, I don't think they'll allow that.
Yeah, I used to do non-commercial radio pledge drives, and so you're just talking forever.
Oh, no, so there's no commercials or anything? Is that what you mean?
Well, in college radio.
Oh, so right, right.
Just like NPR, we would have to do our fundraisers.
Oh,
and,
yes.
They keep coming up with things to say.
That's right. And well, that was probably fun too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You're not bound by anything. You're just kind of just keep it going.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the goal with Silver Hill Radio is to keep it going and to keep it diverse. So that's why we want different stories. We want different people on. I mean, I've sort of done my part with bringing in like different musical area artists from the area, sharing their stories for, I'd say like 10 or so episodes, Most of it is just me, like I said, talking about music and songs and artists. But now I've been incorporating guests, and what better way to do that than to just look around and start getting staff involved,
Absolutely.
I mean, it can be a challenge, but I think the outcome, like right now, I think it's worth it.
And the importance of really getting the word out there.
Exactly.
Because I'm understanding more and more as being part of this process about exactly what the radio station does. How I can tune in from home. I was listening on my laptop the other day. I can also listen through the Live 365 app on my phone, and I plan to really incorporate it into my life, because you have the talk programs that
that's right.
Help us understand better what we're doing here as an institution, how to help people more effectively, and then also have that music that really touches the heart.
Yeah. I think you're mentioning Conscious Mind, which we try to replay Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. And then there's a replay Friday at 9 p.m. as well. So that's probably
that's one that I heard.
Yeah. So we replay that on the radio and also on YouTube. So we're trying to get more things on demand on YouTube, so you can listen, whenever you want.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the goal is to get this the same way, maybe on demand.
Yeah, and that goes along with the general YouTube channel that Silver Hill has.
Right.
We have videos going back years and years, and a lot of our staff don't even realize that channel exists. And I've been listening. I've been watching the videos sequentially, so I've gotten through the first several years of it, and just incredible stuff. Podcasts, tours around the campus. We had a PBS show called Visionaries that featured us. Really beautiful documentary series that they included us in. There's footage from the Silver Hill Gala that we've had different years in Manhattan, and where we get to hear from some of our patients, some former patients, some of them quite famous, talking a little bit about what the hospital has meant for their life and their recovery. So we're really putting a lot of resources out into the world.
Yeah, no, I agree, and hopefully we'll have another gala or
that'll be
a little get together.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I think they're planning something for the holiday, so
good.
That'd be great. They're starting to bring these things back as well.
Yeah,
because that boosts morale. It keeps us together, and it's fun.
Sure.
Oh, we had fun at the employee picnic as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that's right.
That was a great evening.
So I have to mention this. It was a great evening. It was beautiful. The food was great. I got my 5-year certificate. And you got what, a $50 gift card or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're a lucky guy. It was a raffle, right?
I think it was the raffle I got that in.
I was like, what, can we just switch? I mean, I'll take the $50. I mean, I think it was you and Alejandro. You guys got the $50 things, and he was like chuckling too. Like, yeah, you want to switch? I'm like, no, okay. I'll keep my certificate because that'll last a lot longer than $50.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ron, I think this is a good way to wrap it up. We did mention Silver Hill Radio on YouTube, Silver Hill Hospital on YouTube. It's 2 YouTube channels. And then there's also the Live 365, where you can catch Silver Sounds, Silver Hill Radio, and eventually this show, Clocked In. Ron, I'm hoping that you come back.
Yeah, I'd be honored to come back.
Yeah. This is a great way to kick it off. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Tune in next time on Clocked In.